I'm interested in your thoughts on this. If you were to ask most people, a lot of the things I've read about, a lot of the opinions that come out say that the next generation is really going to struggle with relationships. They're becoming more me oriented and more transaction oriented. And I don't want to generalize, but I'm interested in from a relationship standpoint. Do you think this is with your purpose and the impact you're trying to make? Do you feel like it's getting it's going to be harder as you go, or it's something that will get a little easier?
It's too early to tell because a lot of these folks have not yet fully matured, and we're shaped by the conditions around us. We're shaped by the environment, and that's what molds and shapes us. It's not simply, the culture
Timing.
we're in. Right. So, for instance, war changes people, right? Famine changes people. Climate change will change people. Everything that's going on right now, which is approaching a bit of chaos, changes people. So we don't really know. It's very easy to sit back and compare and contrast, but I know now that I'm not going to be inheriting the earth anymore. I'm out. I'm a dinosaur. I am one of those people that go, oh, these kids these days. Well, that's because I don't get it, and and I don't think anybody does. That's part of why generations die out, and the young inherit the earth because they have a whole different way of thinking and way of looking at things. We tend to not understand the language, like all the language now. That's very complex, and but it's always been that way throughout our history. And I think probably in the cave person days, the old elders lamented, "Oh, the kids in their fire these days. What are they going to do? They're going to burn the world in their wills. Why do you need a will?" You know. So I think it's
Yeah.
just something that repeats. But
I
we
mean,
don't.
it's scary. I think it's always scary when it's something new,
Huh?
when
Yeah.
and you can't pick it up as quickly. Somebody said one, I think it was my father-in-law the other day. He was like, this technology, I can't even keep up with it. I don't even understand. And believe me, we know that that it's difficult to keep up with because we get all the calls that the remote's not working, that the
Right.
internet's out, that the email is broken, and I'm like, these are simple things. But then to the generation below me, I have people in our company that will be like, our CEO is so stupid. He can't even figure out how to send a PDF. You're
Right.
like,
Right.
well, I don't know. I've never sent this stuff. I don't have a clue what I'm doing here. And I'm making these things up. But the point
No,
that I'm
but
getting
it's
at is
yeah.
it's rational to think that way.
Yeah, that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. We operate within our experience in life, and then there's exponential change that as there has been and continues to be with devices and electronics and now AI, and everyone worries that we're advancing too fast beyond our maturity to be able to handle these things, which has always been the case, by the way. I think this is just nature. We'll always complain about stuff like this. So we don't know. I think if we look to uh, uh, what we know about human primates, we are herd animals. We cling, we group. We are not lone wolves. We're not hyenas. And so I don't think we're going to be. We need other people. We need interaction, or we go crazy, literally crazy. So I don't think that's going to end at any time soon. We also tend to pair bond in herds. This has to do with our earliest pair bonding, which is with our caregiver, our primary. And so the end of coupling doesn't seem to be coming anytime soon. It may be delayed because kids today are getting more in groups. They're still related, but they're getting more together in groups, and they're not doing love or sex as much anymore, which may affect our population growth as it does in Japan. But who knows? We don't know. We can only fear and guess and
Yeah.
judge, but time will tell.
Well,
What
all it takes is a change like war or something like that
happens.
that totally changes the trajectory of
Everything.
time. I mean,
Yep.
1940s and the baby boomers came out of a moment where every man that went to war came back and said, time is short, life is short, I need to make the most of this. And and there was a lot of babies that came out of that. And so
Right.
and millennials now outnumber the baby boomers for the first time, and in the beginning of millennials are now turning 40. And to your point, we're now noticing things. I've been in financial services for 22 years, and we're noticing things that millennials were the do-it-yourselfer, and
Yeah.
now they've done it together, which is unique because they're one of the first generations to manage money and work together as a team.
Yeah.
They've been in different realms at earlier times and a little more aligned on some things, and we're seeing stronger relationships out of that. We're also seeing longer relationships and more financially stable, which is really interesting because a lot of the baby boomers were very one-sided. There was one person, male or female, who was handling that stuff, and that created a lot of animosity and challenge going into the empty nest phase and beyond. And so, I to your point, anything can happen, anything could change, but it's interesting to watch. And the more we dedicate to learning about the other person, really investing in the relationship, the better off we're all going to be.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. We're really shaped by necessity and by the environmental stressors and pressures, mostly those that require us to survive, right? That or challenge us, our survival, and that does change us and more than genetics. I think it's the environmental drives and stressors, that pressures that will actually turn genes on or off, and so uh, uh, it's a wait and see. We're being tested all the time by life.
If you like clips like this, I have a similar clip here. And if you want to watch the full video, click here.